Hi, my name's Paul Cresswell. Welcome to Paul's Tackle Reviews. The purpose of this channel is to give you reviews of tackle that's been out on the bank, tried and tested by an unbiased, unsponsored angler, and that's me. Today I'm looking at a feeder line, and what I mean by that is a line I'm going to use for method feeder, pellet feeder, bomb work, general commercial feeder line. I'm going to put up there a list of some of the lines I've used over the last 40 years that I've been fishing, just to give you an idea of what I've tried, what I haven't tried. There are others that are no longer made that could be on the list, but here are the ones I've used. And first one there is Maxima. Now, when I started 40 years ago, Maxima was the number one line. It was the best. Everybody knew that. A lot of people used it. It was a brilliant sinking line. In those days, we didn't have a pole. We fished the waggler. You wanted a sinking line. Maxima was the best. Maxima is still out there, and it's a good line, it's robust, it's abrasion resistance, and there's a lot of people, when you see on the forums, people say recommend a feeder line. I've used Maxima for years and it's never let me down, and it won't let you down. But what I'm gonna say is, a line that's been out 40 years, I think modern lines have got better. I think Maxima is too stretchy. I also think it can have a tendency to coil when coming off the spool. So I've moved on to modern lines. There's lots of people like Maxima, but if you haven't tried anything else, then you are going to say it's a good line, aren't you? And it is a good line, but I do think there's better out there. Next one, we've got good old Super Sensor, which is cheapest chips line. You can buy 2,500 meters for, I don't know, 15 quid. And I've spent a number of years in the past using Sensor, and the main reason was it was very good, cost-effective line. It was very cheap, which meant you can change your spools regularly. It sank fairly well. Again, had a bit too much stretch, could coil a bit coming off, but it was a cost-based decision that I took at that time, and it enabled me to have lots of different reels set up, and it enabled me to change my line regular, but I do think there are better lines out there. As you can see, I've used a couple of Shimano lines. I like Shimano lines, not always easy to get hold of. Drennan Series 7, Tournament ST, an excellent line. Suplex, I like for using on the pole, but I just didn't get on with it for the feeder. I've tried the Preston sinking mono. It's a good line. I quite liked it, but I don't think it's as good as others. And then for the last few years, I've been using Matrix Horizon X, which is their kind of reel line that they've brought out. So what do you want from this kind of feeder line? You want something that's strong, abrasion resistance. It's going to be on your landing net, it's going to be in snags. You want something that will stand up to that. You want it to sink well. Modern lines do sink well. You don't want too much stretch. You don't want to put a bigger method feeder on and suddenly find that when you cast into an island, it's going a metre further because there's so much stretch in the line. You want to be able to control things, and you don't want to be too wiry and coily coming off the spool. So I've used this Horizon X, £8 for 300 meters. The 8-pound diameter is 0.20, which is very slim compared to others. and it's been really good. I've had no complaints. I don't think I've ever broken with it. When I've caught a tree, it doesn't half take some breaking. It's been a really good line. Matrix have brought out a new line. It's called Submerge, and I bought some of the £8, which incredibly was £10 for 1,000 meters, so £1 per 100 meters. And a lot of people, obviously sponsored anglers, recommending it, and I did worry it was a bulk line, it was going to be cheap, it was going to be wiry and stretchy. I've been out, I've tested this a lot of times, maybe 20-30 times. I've been out there catching fish of different sizes, bomb fishing method. I've even done some maggot feeder fishing with it, and I've given it a really good test. So what is the diameter of this? Well, the £8 is 0.23, and I've got my micrometer out and it comes up at 0.228, so very accurate stated diameter. The breaking strain, and some of you may have seen the videos I did earlier in the year looking at lines where I tie a loop at either end and then pull for a break looking at the scales I've got, and I did exactly the same with the Submerge, and the £8 averaged, because I do several readings, £8.5 breaking strain, which was great. It is a nice colour. It's a kind of brown, a shiny. It's everything you want from a feeder line colour. So if I compare it to this, so this is slimmer. It's 0.20 diameter, and that was almost spot on with the micrometer again. So this was slimmer. This broke just over £7 in my test. Now, when I did the test, bear in mind I'm using knotted line, so it does break less than what normally breaks, for less than what is said on the front, and that was nearly always the case in the lines I did earlier in the year. So that breaking at just over 7 wasn't a surprise. The new line breaking at 8.5 was a surprise, and I thought it would be nearer 8 and probably just under as well. So you might say, well, £8 is a bit heavy, I use £6, but we really need to look at the diameter here. So the 0.23 is equivalent to £6 Preston sinking. The Drennan Fast Sink, that's 0.23, that's £6. Tournament ST £8 is 0.24, and Daiwa Sensor £6 is 0.24. So you might think 8's high, but really you're using what comparably would be a £6 line, but you get that extra strength with it. It does make me think maybe I should try the £6 of this, which is 0.20 diameter. So I'm back to where I was with the Horizon X, and see what that's like, and I might well get some of that to test it. I've tried to look at the relative stretch of the two lines, and this is quite difficult to do, and I set various things up and pins and tried to measure, and at the end of the day I didn't get any conclusive results. They're both fairly low stretch lines, as you would expect from a modern feeder line. I would say there's very little in it. The Submerge might be a tad odd percent stretchier, but the real test is on the bank. I didn't notice any difference in the stretch. It hadn't reflected in the accuracy of the casting. I don't think there's anything between it. So what's my overall conclusion? Well, it's that Submerge is an absolute bargain, and I can't believe you can get 1,000 meters of high quality feeder line and you're paying £10 for that. I don't feel like I'm making any compromise using that compared to the line I was using previously. I don't think I've lost anything, and if the stats are right, then I've gained a little bit of breaking strain. It does seem an odd decision by Matrix, but let's not look a gift horse in the mouth. The Submerge means you can have a smallish book spool, you can change your lines more frequently, because inevitably if lines costing £6 every time you do it, then you're going to try and make it last as long as you want. Now you can just pull it off and put some more of the new line on. I've also seen some other favourable comments online on the forum on maggotdrowning.com, and I think other people have used this. I haven't heard anything bad about it. I think it's an excellent line. I would certainly recommend it. And like I say, I think I'm going to have a try of the £6. Not that I necessarily want something thinner. It will probably sink a little better. Being a little bit thinner, I might just give it a go and I'll report back if I do. That's it for today. Fairly short video, just talking about a product that I think you need to think about when you're looking for a line and a feeder line. There's over 70 videos, hard to believe it, on my channel now, so please have a look at those. If you want to give me a thumbs up and a like, that's great. If you want to hit subscribe, there's going to be more videos in the new year. I'm getting back into it. I've had a few weeks off, and I'll hopefully be turning out videos very frequently. Until next time, tie lines.